Hey, Off-Season After Dark fans, glad to have you here for episode 40. I never thought we'd get this far when we started about 9 or 10 months ago. So we are back to action. Last week we had a good Central Michigan episode. Today we're here with Jay and Mike from the Cursive U to talk UMass football. So one of the newer, I believe the second newest member of that conference as of a few months ago. So very glad to have you guys here. I think it's a fan base that our regular viewers will enjoy watching just because a lot of unknowns, they're not going to know as much about roster, coaches, and all of that. So just guys, again, happy you're here. What got you guys into this space? What got you following UMass, and how long have you been doing this?
You want me to take this one, Mike?
Go ahead. Yeah, you know the story better than me.
Yeah. So we it's funny, we like I mentioned before the show started, 3 guys, 3 UMass grads, 3 basically generations of UMass. Kind of met at Gillette Stadium. Chuck, who's not with us right now tonight, he was sitting behind me, and we figured each other out from the message board. And then we always tuned in with Mike. And then we always were talking on Twitter and then one day I just brought Mike into it with Chuck, and the 3 of us started chatting. And then the pandemic came. And in a nutshell, it just became kind of a passion project. We were really good at figuring out who coaches were going to be when coaching changes took place. We just had a way of getting in the rabbit hole and
I'm glad to hear that.
Putting
that's
information
kind of one of my
together.
passions too. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't like breaking news on the kids, but we love being the first guys to come out with a coaching change. The most recent one for us was our new offensive coordinator. And when we get it, you should see how excited we get. And we know we're right, so.
He was a Toledo guy, right?
Funny you say that. He was at Bowling Green. Eddie George came. He was let go, I guess, or separated. And
he was with Leffler, the old staff.
He was at he was at Leffler. Yeah. But he was an analyst at Toledo, and we went to a bunch of Toledo guys, and we're like, "Hey, was he with your staff last year?" And they're like, "We don't know what you're talking about." And we're like, "We have a Christmas card picture of him wearing a Toledo polo shirt with his family," and we're like, "We know he was in Toledo."
Yeah.
So, but the Toledo guys are like, "We don't know what you're talking about." And we're like, "What?"
Yeah.
So, anyways. So that's kind of how we came together. It's a passion project. We were kind of little, fledglings in the UMass space. And again, because it's the 3 of us, we've been able to kind of keep our momentum going. And, again, it's a passion project. It's fun. We like to do it. Mm-hmm. And, there's not enough UMass coverage anyway. So a lot of the stuff we just kind of try to share. We don't always put a commentary around it.
And I feel like that's the case with most of the G6 schools. Like it's very much a niche. And, from my point of view, it's tougher to find people to collaborate with. But the fans are super passionate, and there are definitely the G6 crowd that they want to engage with all the content about these schools. So it's fun stuff.
And we have a very passionate fan base. A lot of older, loyal fans. I think everyone's got torches and pitchforks outside our AD's house right now, but overall, we get along usually. I think some people like to say we're a little bit of homers because we try to really stay out of the negative space as much as we can. Yeah. Not that we don't get frustrated, but, I'm not going to go nuclear on a kid because he missed a field goal, right? Yeah. And, and coaches make mistakes. ADs make mistakes. We wish we weren't losing, but we're not going to just shit all over everybody.
No, I get
that. And I think also too, this is, like we said, it's like a project, right? It's a passion project, something that takes us away from at least my day to day, my, the I don't want to say like struggles or whatever, just like the stresses and the day. And I just want to enjoy something. It's very hard, right? It's very difficult, but this is just something that, the last thing I would need to do is go on a computer and just be more frustrated. Try to find that silver lining in a very, very difficult program to support. But it is fun, like you said. Like Jay and I didn't know each other before this, didn't know Chuck before this. Brought a lot of people together. There's a good group of people, especially if you go to a tailgate. Unfortunately, the kids don't go in, and rightfully so. There's no reason for them to go in. But if they ever go in, there's what's the word I'm looking for? The sleeping giant, if you will, right? I mean, it's not a giant in the sense that we're going to fill a 100-person stadium or 100,000-person stadium, but there's no reason why McGurk shouldn't be sold out every Saturday if this team is good. Only 17,000 people, and there's 20,000 kids, you know, 100 feet away.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Am I correct? Is it the biggest university in the state?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured it was. I thought it was bigger than BC, but yeah. So we'll start like in the same place I usually do for teams who are entering their second year with a coach. I did with CMU, talked about it with Marshall before. Going back a little over a year, 15, 16 months, you guys had a coaching opening. Dr. Blitz was fired, of course, and I love the nickname. And one of my friends always says Dr. Blitz when he talks about Brown. And but it was probably time to move on. Were you guys like at the time? Were you guys okay with moving on from Brown?
I think Don's a legend. Ronnie Brown did a lot of great things at UMass his first time through. He's definitely passionate. He's a local guy. He cared. I think the school, the administration, everyone misjudged the portal for us and the resources needed to succeed. Okay. And, I think Don thought he could assemble some kids really quickly and make it all work. And for whatever reason, it just really didn't. And, it was frustrating, but, I think we collectively, the three of us would say that, we thought he should get another shot at the MAC, the first year on the MAC, and the new resources that came available, but things were just missing, and I think that's kind of been the story for UMass from a coaching standpoint. Yeah.
And I think the big frustration was just let him finish the year. It wasn't so much that, he went 2-10 or whatever it was. And you got to make a decision. The season was still going on. And if I remember correctly, wasn't it Liberty? Was that the last game? Liberty. And we lost to them in overtime or something like that. So it was like they were competing. But it just, it was half the fan base was fine with it. Half the fan base wasn't. Wasn't the right move.
I forgot that it was.
We don't know.
Season 2.
Yeah. But we heard things that he has to win out, or he's got to win whatever it was, like 3 of the next 4, and like Georgia was in there. And
did you guys have Mississippi State at some point? In that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so it was actually I want to say it was Liberty, Mississippi State, Georgia. I forget the rest of it, but it was
Georgia and UConn were the final 2.
Yeah, it was a really hard schedule, and he had to win 3 of them, and they almost had Liberty, and then I think one. Either way, it was just a hard task, and that's what we heard, and then obviously it happened. But I could 100% see him giving it. He should have had a shot with, going into the MAC. But at the same time, if we need to make a decision. If it's the right move, we'll see. So far, it's been a hard decision to back.
I'm looking at that October, November that year was a bear of a schedule. Mm-hmm. Missouri, Mississippi State, Liberty, Georgia, UConn. Wow.
Yeah. But we did get Missouri to come to Amherst.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was and I want to say, what can you say those again? Liberty, Missouri, Mississippi State, Georgia,
and UConn was the last one.
Yeah. I think that was the talk he needed to get, like 2 of those or something. Yeah. And then he lost Liberty, and I don't think they saw 2 wins out of the rest of the schedule.
So once that he was let go and you knew, the search was underway, when you guys arrived at Harasymiak, what was, A, your guys' thoughts, and then B, thoughts around, the program on the whole and fans and people, in the UMass world? Because from my perspective, I thought it was pretty good being a guy who had seen him at Maine, then being a native Minnesota, saw him as an assistant with the Gophers. Then he was at Rutgers with Schiano. So it seemed like he was doing the right things to get in place for that. What was?
Yeah, he definitely was positioning himself to be in this kind of spot. It's funny, like, because I thought about this when we were preparing for this, and every coach that's come has gotten more than the guy before him since the FBS. So Whip got more than Molnar. when I say more resources, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily incrementally a ton more, but so sometimes you wonder, like, why didn't they just give Donnie what they're giving Joe, right? But because Joe's got a lot of resources, but I think he came here, he says it all the time. He showed up. His first day on the job was the early signing day in December. We signed a couple of recruits that had already committed to Donnie. They pretty much cleaned house with the staff. I think he was running the show with our O-line coach at the time, our tight ends coach, who has since retained, Matt Lehman, who's been here for like 3-4 coaches, younger kid. And then, a couple GAs who are no longer here, right? So they were quickly trying to put the team together with the portal, and he's out recruiting. He's trying to put his staff together. I think a lot of the people who hold the torches and pitchforks forget state of Massachusetts from a Commonwealth standpoint, from a business standpoint, it's molasses. It's slow. Nothing happens fast. Georgia fires their coach. They bring in a new guy, and you're already talking about the OC tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
UMass, that doesn't happen because, I don't know, we got a bigger background check process or something, but it just takes forever. And so, I think it was just that whole process made it harder for him, to be honest, and be a little bit of a sympathizer in that sense. But, but the resources, he definitely has more resources. And I think that's what freaks everyone out, because then we just laid an egg last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
The D coordinator, how do you pronounce his name? Is it Hay? How do you?
Kite.
Okay.
Kite. Jared Kite.
Kite. Okay.
Yeah, and he's been with Joe for a long time.
I saw he was with him at Rutgers.
He was with him in Maine. Yeah,
Okay.
He was actually, I think he was the defensive coordinator in Maine for a touch, and then he stayed in Maine, I think, and then he came to Rutgers when Joe got the Rutgers. I think, I think Joe came into, and Donnie had a lot of turnover that was going to be natural because of the graduating and the kids leaving school. And then, I'm sure like every new coach comes in, some guys just have to go, but I think, and he's all but said it, a lot of guys just, once things started going bad, the kids who'd been there for a while were like, here we go again. And you kind of get the feeling they checked out, and he didn't think that was going to happen with a culture change and new kids coming in. And so I think he realized pretty quickly that he was going to have to, sweep out some more and bring in some other kids that kind of fit the identity he wanted for the team.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair. Then he took over, and I didn't know it was like the same day as the early signing period. That's good context to know there. So come time for the season, what were expectations like going into the year? I'm assuming they were not really high, but also not what you got either, somewhere in between.
Depends on who you talk to.
What would you say, Mike? What were your expectations going into the year?
Jokingly, you have to convince me that we're never going to go undefeated, but
okay,
week one always.
I will convince you for this year you will not go undefeated in 2026.
Hey, you never know. No, I think it depends on every year. It's how do we get bowl eligible? I mean, we've never won more than 4 games. Like that's and since 2012, 2013, never more than 4 games. So, if we win 5, that's the best record that if we win 4, that's the best record we had since 2018, I think. So yeah, it just depends on who you ask, but every year it's bowl eligible. How do we get bowl eligible?
Yeah.
So yeah, going into last year, there was a lot of, Joe was very much pumping up this team. This is a good team. Even we had Rini Agolia, who's the Hall of Famer for UMass running back, very much like painting the picture on how we get to bowl eligible and how this team is just different. Everybody was, I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people were really bought into this team being something that it wasn't. I mean, they didn't win anything, so we didn't even get, and it wasn't even, hey, we went 0-12 and we lost 35-30, 40-42 or something. I mean, we were getting smoked.
Buffalo was really the only close conference game. Really.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
We hung with Western Michigan for a bit, and then they took off on us, but yeah,
They were
and
tough
I think
on D last year. They were a solid D last year.
Yeah,
it was just
it was a hard,
it was a tough season.
It was hard. Yeah. We couldn't. Every week you didn't know who the quarterback was. For a stretch there, it was. We started with Brandon Rose, and then it went to he got hurt, and then it went to Grant Jordan, and then quickly went to AJ Hairston, and then Harasymiak saying how much he loves Hairston, and he seems like the guy, and then we go back to Rose, go back to Jordan. It was every week was tough. It was a tough watch.
Okay. I imagine,
and I think as a fan base too, I think we probably showed a little disrespect to the MAC, and I think we all bought into the hype that
100%
that UMass was going to have a significant enough investment that would put us at the higher echelon of the programs in all sports, but specifically football. But I don't think we actually knew what that meant. I'm not sure that we had, the $1 million in day one, right? And stuff like that, because we never had that money before. So where were we getting that, right? But we definitely, I think, disrespected the MAC, and we paid for that, without a doubt.
And the funny thing too about that is it's not like we never played them. It's not like we joined Conference USA or Sun Belt or something. We played, I think, the year prior we played the MAC 5 times. So
we did.
Yeah,
we've played the MAC like multiple times. So this wasn't a surprise. This shouldn't have been a surprise.
EMU, Toledo, Buffalo, Miami, Northern Illinois. You played all of them the year before.
Yeah.
So
and lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's a interesting, and I would have never thought to conceptualize it the way you guys did, of maybe you didn't quite respect the MAC enough. That's an interesting take. And some of those coaches, though, I mean, very few coaches anywhere have been around as long as Chuck Martin and done the things he did. Miami, WMU was just really good last year. Pete Lembo's a heck of a coach, and they just know how to get over the line in a lot of these games, and that's what happened. So let me ask you this. I mean this seriously. Like, what were some things that did go well during the season last year?
Punting.
Okay.
Would you say punting? Yeah.
Yeah.
We did have
All-American
punter.
From a standpoint of now, are there anything you'd look back on and say, because of how we did last year, it gives us some promise this year? Were there any position groups that were okay? I will say I watched a few games, probably more than a lot of people, because I am one of the few people that is in a college football fantasy league, and it's PPR. Jaquan Gibson was a really good player in PPR because they threw the ball to him all the time. So
yes, they did.
I was happy about having him.
Unfortunately, he will be in Virginia next year.
Yes, I had a UVA guy on about a month and a half ago. So
yeah, he was a good player. He definitely had a really good year. He'd been here 4 years, so he'd stuck around. He had a good year, but I think Jay can definitely get into the details way better than I can. But I'd say probably Tyler Martin and Timmy Hines-Speeder. They're the linebacking core.
Okay,
they're definitely probably what Joe wants in his linebackers. And then we didn't see a ton of them because he ended up getting hurt in Iowa. But TJ McGee, cornerback, he was having a really good year before he ended up getting hurt and out for the season.
Yeah, I saw he was projected starter for this year, but only played in 3 games last year. He got
blindsided on a punt return. It's funny that
I say it was targeting.
Yeah, it was an ugly hit, but he got blindsided and he got knocked out for the season, and the other guy took it back for a touchdown.
To answer your question, though, I think there is. It's a very different team. Certainly schematically on the defensive side, it's not. Special teams, it's not schematically. Offense will be all new, but I think one of the things that we'll take away is the kids who left either had an opportunity to better themselves, like Gibson, like Marcus White down in SMU. A lot of kids aren't playing that left.
I saw most of the kids, and that was a disappointing thing for me, was all the guys that entered the portal and didn't sign anywhere. That's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. And college football's tough. As a student athlete, some kids just get burnt out. They may enter the portal, but that doesn't mean they're actually looking.
Yeah.
We had one guy who went in who hadn't played in a year and a half, and he went in and he's a coach, Division III now.
Okay.
But he did enter the portal.
Okay.
But I think that what we see and what we've heard, especially from like players and families, is the culture's growing the correct way. People want to be there. We know some kids who left in the portal that have gone to other schools that didn't want to leave.
Oh, okay.
They and they're on the way out the door to us. They're like, he's got it on the right path. It's going to be great. Sorry, we're not going to be there.
Okay.
And we heard that multiple times.
It's something to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I would say being a Marshall guy now, Justin Williams-Thomas was here last year, transferred you guys running back, who had started his career at Cal, was at Marshall for a year, and now is up with you guys. So,
and everyone coming in always says great things, but guys leaving, saying good things, they don't always hear that.
No.
In certainly the public ones, one or two people were, expressing their frustration and stuff, but that usually everyone can see for what it is. But you never hear feedback like, this is really good stuff. This is why we're doing it. Or parents saying, my son's staying for this reason.
Okay.
Those are the things that kind of grab our attention right now, because there certainly wasn't enough on the field to really say, ooh, we got something going here, right? So, it's, and I think that gives us the tempered expectations for this year, but.
Good. So looking forward to, after spring and looking at that roster, who's the QB going to be? Will it be Inagawa or RJ Johnson? I'm assuming one of those two, or will it
Pop
be someone
Watson.
who's on the roster?
It'll be
Pop Watson. There's
Okay.
no way. He's a Springfield kid.
Transfer.
He's grew up 25 minutes from Amherst, two-time, played in the Super Bowl, the state championship, Division I in Massachusetts twice. Was supposed to go to Nebraska when Whipple was the OC there.
Gotcha.
They were recruiting him when he was in 8th grade, and went to Vatech and became available, and he's coming home, and he's got something to prove. He's got a high school teammate who was a year older than him in high school, Joe Griffin, who went to BC for a bit.
Okay.
And then he went to Wisconsin, got hurt, but now he's coming home, and these guys got something to prove. It's probably going to put some fans in the seats, which is good. They've had a lot of homegrown success, but Pop's got swagger. And I don't know if you heard the video. They gave him the mic after the spring game to thank the crowd. And if I may swear here, but he basically just said, we're going to F up the MAC.
Okay.
And he was like free-forming it, right? And coach afterwards was like, I kind of put him on the spot. Whoops.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? If you're the coach, that's a good way to play it off too, lighten the moment and do that. So
but he's got swagger. He's a he had a couple games where he played really well at Vatech. He can move with his feet. He's got a decent arm. He's a little on the shorter side, but in college football, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
In my opinion, at that position.
I saw 5'11", I think 205 it listed him at. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one thing coach says, especially the whole quarterback room, was this group really wants to lead. And Pop in particular, people want to follow. And I think that's huge, right?
Okay.
I remember last year when the quarterback wasn't a captain, I said to these guys, I go, that doesn't make any sense. Right? How do that guy has to be a captain. But we didn't have last year. It wasn't one of our captains.
I don't want to go so far as to label that a red flag, but it's bordering on that.
Yeah.
When you're not, like you don't know how those dynamics work and if they're voting or the coach is picking, but usually that
you need a guy who can bring their boys in the huddle at that Buffalo game and say, we're going to dig deep. We need 1 yard. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And then look at, running back wise, obviously mentioned Williams-Thomas, the former Marshall guy. And then I saw you guys had also got Jordan Washington, very big guy, was pretty good at FCS level at Murray State. And then return Rocco Griffin. So one of the guys I work with is a Vandy guy. So, he had spent some time there in his career. that room looks decent to me on paper. Like your running back stable looks all right.
Yeah, Elijah Faulkner's the one. He was a freshman last year. He got a lot of run.
Yeah.
I think he's someone they're hoping. We got a couple of freshmen coming in that we're real excited about. Justin Lewis, TK Davis.
Lewis, I saw, did not see David. Didn't see anything.
Yeah, Lewis went to Mater Day and Mater Day, whatever you say, and out in Southern Cal, and you know he was a big sign for us. We don't go West Coast often for freshman recruits, so they're pretty excited about that. I think Justin is the guy they're hoping they're going to lean into. So we'll see where that goes. He had a good spring ball.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say William Thomas and Washington. Obviously, they're coming in. Don't know much about them, right? But hopefully they can fit into this rushing attack.
Both big guys too, 215 and 220. So they're definitely sturdy. Then at receiver, it seemed like you guys lost most of the targets from last. Obviously, Gibson was the big one, but Donnie Gray had a lot of targets too.
Yep.
Donnie
played well down the stretch.
Yeah, the big one is Joe Griffin though. Like he should be coming in as the true number one. Something that we haven't had in a while. And I do think even like targets and receiving, it was so tough last year because we were behind right off the bat, and they knew we were throwing. So it was even hard to gauge some of these guys because it's hard to pass, hard to move the ball in general. But Joe Griffin coming in, he's the guy.
One guy I wanted to ask about spring ball wise was Randall King, who transferred from Campbell. So I know the old coordinator at Campbell is a guy that I had coached with at one point.
So he never showed up.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's not on the roster. One guy they did get was Devin Williams, comes from I think East Texas. He's had a lot of good production at that level.
Devin Matthews.
Devin Matthews. What did I say? Williams.
Yeah.
Devin Matthews, and then T.Y. Harding is coming back from injury. He's had some good success. He got hurt in the Temple game and just really couldn't get going again, and then missed the rest of the season. So we're really looking forward to him. He's a local kid, Mass made. And then we got KDJ and Elijah Pedro, who've been in the system for a bit.
Okay.
And then a couple and again, there's some freshmen walking in there as well.
Yeah. I saw David Moore was one of the freshmen who seemed to, be pretty promising.
Yeah, he enrolled in January, so he got to go through spring, so that was good for him.
Yeah. Then tight end wise, it seemed like you looked pretty good there and returned most of your guys at that position.
Yeah, I'd say technically that's from a production standpoint, that's the deepest room. We have one freshman coming in, but everyone else was on the roster and played a role last year in some fashion. We want to control clock. So and we want to control clock. So we're going to have a lot of 12 and 13 packages anyways. So
that was my next question was, are you going to, see Dowling and Markovich on the field a lot, at the same time?
Yeah. So Reese Atkins, who's a beast,
I will say the depth chart I was looking at said Atkins graduated and was not there anymore. So I'm glad you.
He got another year eligibility, so he's back.
Yeah, so they return. I think they return everybody from that.
Yeah, except for the freshmen, they return the entire room. I think there's like 5 guys.
Yeah. And the freshman, Markovich, he played last year.
Yeah.
And
I feel like about every episode I've done, about every episode I've done, there's someone on the roster like that where my depth chart says they graduated. Nope, they got an extra year.
I don't know how you can keep up with it right now.
It's so difficult. Keep an eye out for Matt Oguni, who came from Rutgers. He didn't get a ton of playing time last year. He was a redshirt freshman, but he's got skills.
Yep. I see him. I did see him on there. So then O-line wise, I saw both guards were coming back, Weedman and Brock Taylor, and then replacing the other 3 guys. So
Sully retired, but we got Peyton Miller's coming back.
Oh, okay.
Brock Taylor's coming back, and I think we got 2 transfers coming in that probably just started this yesterday or today with summer camp. one kid, how do you say his name? We got
Different Colorado
kid
State.
from Big A.
That's the best
you
I
can
can
say
do.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought in
And then-
Greg Knox from McNeese State. He was a big ad.
Yep.
Okay.
They've got a few. I mean, the whole line was rebuilt.
We got a new O-line coach as well, who was on the staff and as an assistant O-line coach.
Okay.
But
So-
Greg Klingensmith's coming in from William and Mary. He's a big boy. He was at the spring game on a visit. He's just a mountain of a man. And then we got another kid coming in from
He does look
Colgate.
like a horse. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, Nick D'Alessandro. So we got some older guys that got a year left, and then we have a couple kids that have been in the system for a while, and Peyton Miller and Brock Taylor, and
and then Zachary Franks too. He was a transfer from Northwestern last year, but he got hurt, and so he's here this year. So at
They've
least
certainly
he was
produced
a
good
year in the
O-linemen
system.
there, and they've done a good job identifying O-linemen at Northwestern, so that's probably a good sign.
yeah,
Hopefully,
but we're gonna live and die by the O-line. So,
no getting around that.
but Coach White, who again was the assistant last year, he's had a lot of experience. He's not like he's more like the modern day assistant analyst, where he's actually coached and been an offensive coordinator and stuff.
Yeah.
I think he was at Hampton for a touch and Delaware State.
Mhm.
So he's tireless. He's a really crazy recruiter. He's out on the road all the time. He's one of the more vocal on Twitter recruiters.
And
the school,
relative to
good.
the FCS, they've done pretty good the last couple of years. Deshaun Jackson is at Delaware State, so there's definitely been some buzz there.
So we're hoping we're going to see some good stuff.
If the O-line, and that's with every team, right? If the O-line isn't good, it doesn't gel, can't push, like you said, that 1 yard to beat Buffalo. I mean, we're looking at another long, hard season.
Yeah, and that's where most of our injuries were last year too.
Yeah, I think back-to-back weeks, didn't we lost 2 offensive linemen for basically like season-ending injuries.
Okay. I didn't realize it was that extreme. Yeah, that's
there were some bad ones. Not that that's the excuse, but it didn't help.
Even your top level P4 teams with good depth, you're not even going to sustain that all the time. Like that's significant when you're 2 weeks in a row. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now looking at the defensive side of the ball, it seemed like D-line, the whole D-line will be new from what it looked like to me. Like graduated a lot of those guys, of course, transfer to SMU and North Texas, but you also brought in 2 guys from Indiana and some portal guys that should contribute right away at the D-line.
Yeah.
I think.
You go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say they had one player go in the portal, Tim Passmore, and they were able to bring him back. He was a transfer last year, I believe, from UConn. He played last year, so we got at least him coming back on the line. And then Joshua Nobles, he was a transfer from Jackson State last year.
Yeah,
and he was kind of the guy. He was who we were expecting to be that edge rusher that we just haven't had. And right before kickoff week 1, we found out that he tore his Achilles about 2 weeks earlier. So I was actually saying with Franks, Zachary Franks, we expected him to be at least maybe not starting tackle, but in line to play. Same thing, Achilles or some injury that was up in the year. So, but that was in the parking lot. Like what? This guy.
Someone on Twitter told me this 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
I mean, it was frustrating. So,
but the D-line room has been rebuilt, and it's probably the deepest. It's probably the deepest room, but it's with all new players. Justin Kruger coming in from William and Mary. You mentioned the boys from Indiana, the brothers there. That's really cool.
Yeah.
We got Johnson and Jerry Washington from last year. They got a year under their belt now. They understand the system. A lot of continuity in that sense. Overall, I think defense, our returning production is really all there. And obviously we're returning into the same scheme. So, we mentioned the linebackers on the back end. We got on the back end, we got guys coming back as well. So it's there's some promise in that sense if things click right.
Good. Yeah, the one, that was obviously what stood out to me on defense was most of your tackles are coming back. Those, the three backers of Martin, Craig, and Heinz Peter. That's awesome. And guys who you'd expect upperclassmen will be leaders, as obviously, other than being good players, they'll be leaders and hopefully can galvanize the rest of those guys and help them gel together, both in spring, fall camp before the season starts.
And I think one of the portal goals was, and I know you talked about this on the previous episode with the guys from CMU.
Yeah.
Joe's looking for production and success. And, if it's at the FCS level and you've done well, that's what he's looking for, right? We're not so much taking the kids who've slipped off the P4 side of it and haven't gotten that playing time. We do have some of those, but not as many as you'd think. We got a kid coming in from North Carolina AT&T, Joshua Isaiah. He's a linebacker. He looked really good in the spring. He's a big kid. I think they have high expectations for him as well.
And he wasn't an All-American too, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, just success. Kids have had success at the FCS level, that are older and more mature. And then we also went and got a couple younger guys, coming in at that similar type,
and I feel like the transfer portal model, it up until a year or so ago, it was the mindset of we're going to get those trickle down guys who have potential but didn't play. Then in the last year, people have started seeing, Kurt Signetti won a national title by getting guys that have produced where they've been, and we're going to get those guys to come to us. That's largely changed the model, I think, in a lot of people's eyes. So.
Yeah, it's the balance and the blend, right? And, I think in the MAC schools, you also have to still build and develop. So, we have a 20-plus player freshman class coming in.
That's good. Yeah.
And we're going to have to develop some guys that, if they do really well, are going to move on, which is good for us if that happens, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you move on the right way, then good for you.
Yeah. And if you produce and you're that marketable to those schools, it probably means you guys are in a better spot for that too.
Right.
So as much as
I think that's, you got to pitch. I don't know if that's the pitch, right? But come here for 3 years, get a degree from a really good university, and then maybe go get paid somewhere else. But you put in 3 solid years, you grew here. I'd say I was that person. Hey, let's go get the people that can't make it at Michigan and UNC and wherever, and come here because hey, this is where you maybe should be at, and then you find out that that they might not even be worthy for UMass, right? And they just move on. So it is what it is. Everybody finds their home. But now I think, as we've seen over the last few years, we need people that can play. We need people that have played. We need people that have experience, and that even comes to the coaching staff too. We need coaches that have coached.
Yeah, definitely. Funny, I did a Western Kentucky episode a while back, and they echoed almost the same things you guys did, both in how they recruit players, but also how Ty Helton recruits assistant coaches and coordinators. He said, come here for a year or two, and I will change your career trajectory. And it's working. I mean, if you're losing guys like that to an upward, mobility, it can be better off for them if you're doing it the right way. It's not always a negative. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you're helping them, right, if you're helping them, even those conversations, if you don't help them, it's only going to hurt you. Right. Yeah. That feedback's only going to come back. Now with agents and that whole world, you can't burn bridges. You got to network right. You got to put people in the right position, and that's only going to help you down the road.
No, I think that's well said. Yeah. So at this point now, we usually move into the schedule, and I wanted to phrase it exactly how you conceptualized it earlier. Looking at the schedule, what is the path to a bowl game?
I'll do it, Mike.
Mike, I'll let you start with this one.
So
you were the one that was the quote.
We'll be bowl eligible after week 7, so we'll be good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's possible because you play 2 FCS teams and you only get to count one of them.
Well, that's why I said 7. Week 7.
Okay.
Unless we got to buy in there. Yeah, I mean, you have to win those.
The buy is after your buy's Halloween, so you're right there. Yep.
So, I mean, the schedule's interesting for a team that went 0-12 and has, 5 wins in the last 6 years. Yeah. We start with Rutgers. So, obviously, an emotional game for Joe. It's a local game. Northeast game, I should say. It should be something we get excited for, but it'll probably be similar to what Temple was last year. Same thing, Northeast,
have
but
one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, and Antoine Raymond. He's a heck of a player. Yeah,
it's not going to be. Most likely not going to be a fun game. But then you turn around,
we all have to take those games for a paycheck at the G6 level. It's just part and parcel of the way it is.
Oh, that's been our life.
That's shame in it. Yeah.
I'll take Rutgers over. I mean, go back and look at those independent schedules.
Yeah.
I mean, we would play like 4 SEC games a year. Yeah. It was brutal.
Marshall, we open up at Penn State in week 1. So same thing.
So at least technically this is the lightest. I mean, we only have one P4 game for the first time in what feels like forever.
Honestly, it might be ever. It might be
ever. And and it's not a top echelon team either, right? So it's not a Georgia, it's not an Auburn. No offense to Rutgers, but they're
going to be fighting for a vote.
Yeah, they're going to be fine.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And I'd rather have them game 1 and not in November when I'm already beat up and destroyed.
And it also geographically might be worthwhile because that's a recruiting area for you guys to go to New Jersey, New York. So that serves a purpose too.
And then, I mean, Joe's a Jersey guy. Right? Yeah. It's just that's the school he just came from. He learned from Shiano. So, I mean, I think it's hopefully it's a good game, right? Hopefully it can build off of something, especially coming off an 0-12 season. But it's going to be a tough start, I would assume, down there in Jersey. But after that, you have back-to-back FCS games, right? You got, I forget how it goes, but it's Stonehill and
it is Sacred Heart, then Stonehill.
Sacred Heart, then Stonehill.
Yeah. So you have to win those games. Like you can't lose those games. And if you lose those games, it's another 1-2 win season, right? Unless you lose both, then if you lose both, Joe is on the hottest seat in the country.
Yes,
you can't lose,
absolutely.
You can't lose those games.
No, I mean, if we lose one of them, he deserves that. To be honest with you, and I think he knows that. He'll be the first guy to step up and say, I didn't come here to lose.
Yeah.
And I also didn't come here to nuke my career, I think has been his line. So.
Oh yeah, and let's be completely honest here. Like, I mean, as much as he's a Northeast guy and he coached at Maine and he went to school in Springfield, he is leaving, once there's success, right? I mean, I think it's kind of the same thing with like the kids coming here for 3 years and then going to SMU or Virginia Tech or wherever, right? I mean, I don't think he's going to be a lifelong coach here. I mean, he could be. I mean, he's got family in the area. It could be. But he has to win.
You almost feel
like he has to win.
If he is a lifelong coach, it's good and bad. It's good because he's elevated the program, but he's probably not elevated it super high if he's there forever too. So,
well, the thing is, he doesn't have to go too high.
Exactly. Yes.
but what I'm saying is like if he wants his career to have that next, he has to win. There's if he goes 0-6 to start next season, who's hiring him to be a head coach? They're hiring him as a safety coach, and maybe one of his buddies takes him in somewhere. I mean, his what's his name down in Miami's the D coordinator, right? So he might have a spot down there to land. Yeah, to land nice and comfy.
Together.
Oh, they've been bouncing around together for a while. But that's what I mean. Like, he has to win. So he has every reason why he needs to win these games because he doesn't want to, like you said, nuke his career. But so you have to win those 2 games, period. And you have to win them. Like, it can't be a 20-13 win. Right. You gotta win.
Yeah. Your hope, and it might sound like lofty expectations, but you want to empty the bench in at least one of those games. You want everybody to see the field in one of them.
Yeah. You need to, you gotta embarrass somebody. Like, you have to. Like, you gotta let it out. And then
I'm assuming
after
those
that-
games are both at home. Is that
They are at home. Yeah.
okay?
Back to back at home. You know,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, this is where the optimistic comes out, which I personally am trying to temper that, but it's hard. But
Yeah.
we could be 2-1 flying to
Yeah,
Sac
that's
State.
That's where I was going.
I'll say that
Sac State, if Sac
conference
State was coming to
rivalry-
us,
Yeah.
I would say we could beat them if they were flying to Boston.
Mhm.
But we're flying out there. But they're basically an FCS team. And I don't mean to say that in a negative way, but they signed up late.
They
You know what
did.
I mean? So now they got to ramp up their roster. And we all know that if you're going into the portal, who knows what you're bringing in. You got to get all those kids to gel. They have a new coach, again, accomplished guy, but still there's a lot in our favor other than the 3,000-mile flight, right? But
And their
in a
roster is
weird
going to be
way,
as turned over as you guys are too.
if not worse, you know, and, you know, in a weird way, we could be 3-1 coming home to play Eastern Michigan,
Yeah.
but we're likely 2-2, and that's okay. You know, I mean, we haven't been that in a long time. And then Eastern Michigan is, you know, they're not the cream of the crop in the MAC.
No.
You know, I mean, it's hard for us to say that about anybody, but you know, that's potentially a winnable game. And then the schedule gets kind of hard in the MAC, and you know, we got UConn on that in the back end, and you
But
know,
and the way you
you
guys
could start
run-
off really strong
the next
and
three
then get
games
beat up
is
to
hard.
finish the season, which would look bad. Or you get momentum. Uncle Mo kicks in, and all of a sudden, you know, you punch Miami, Ohio in the face. Maybe you don't win, but you rock their world, and now everyone is taking notice. You know,
and
but that's me being optimistic.
Yeah,
you got
that's
Ball
where I
State
think
and both,
that
you know,
Sacramento State game is.
lifelong conference rivals, geographic buddies, Boston.
We're looking
Massachusetts,
forward to them.
Sacramento, California.
They got some fun presence on Twitter. They definitely feel disrespected, so I think that's been our bond.
Okay.
You know, as a fandom, you know, for different reasons, but definitely, I think we both have that disrespect kind of feel. I think we've earned ours a little bit more, but
Yeah, but I just think that's the biggest game in the schedule because I mean you should theoretically beat the FCS teams at home, and like you said, if you go over there, you're 2-1. You know, hey, they're FCS schools. You haven't won a game in in a year. You got 2 wins already. You're going to essentially another FCS team, and you know, looking at their schedule, they would have just played North Dakota State, which is obviously a good team. They'd have Fresno State, which is another good team. Eastern
Yeah,
Michigan,
that's
they
game
played
5
them.
for them because they have a
FCS
week
too.
0 game.
So
right.
yeah, so like they've played some games. They've had that home opener, right? So maybe that like
They play
those
EMU in
fireworks
week
are-
0. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
maybe
they took our Hawaii game.
Yeah,
Okay.
their end of the season. We had Hawaii. We swapped it
Yes.
however you want to swap it, but
We were supposed to
But-
play Hawaii
yeah.
this year, and we separated for that.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we added the FCS, and then we you know,
we had 13. Yeah, we
I
had
think
13 games on the schedule.
we had
And then
13
took
games,
Hawaii.
and I think Hawaii was less about money and more about it just wasn't going to be good to go in West Coast twice
Yeah.
for a young team, a gelling team, you know, and
Hawaii's
wants to
going to
play
be
two
pretty
FC
good next year, too. They return a lot out
oh
there.
yeah.
Like in
They
that
do.
conference, they're going to be tough.
But I think from a culture standpoint, you got to build winning, and even if it happens against Sacred Heart and Stonehill, it's going to start the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And we desperately need that.
Yeah. And you guys are in a point now. It doesn't matter who you beat. You just got to get some wins in that left column. That's it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. There's no getting around that. I mean, you have to, like you said, you have to beat Sacred Heart, you got to beat Stonehill, and we'll be 2-1. And people still complain, right? Like you go on Twitter and you'll see people complaining that we're 2-1 and we beat 2, FCS schools. You haven't beat anybody. This, that, and other thing. That's our own fans, right?
It's like, God, let us have this one. Yeah.
We've lost. Maybe you know this, Jeff. Top of your head, how many FCS schools we've lost to? But Don Brown didn't lose to any. But like Walt Bell lost to like 3 or 4. We lost to Bryant last year, so it's not like this is a layup by any means. It just has to happen. You have to win these games, and then you have that opportunity going to Sacramento State to really, say that
if we
we're-
came home from West
we're
Coast
winning.
3-1, it honestly that changes the season, right? 'Cause
Season's
you start to build that momentum. The culture's changed. Kids think they can win now. You know, it's not, oh, here we
Yeah.
go again. And that's
Yeah.
what he's trying to beat out of these kids, you know, and
Mhm.
change that culture that, we're not losers.
Yeah.
Right.
And I do think
that's hard to do.
the action, because that stretch after that, right? Eastern, hopefully we can compete with Miami, Buffalo, Miami at home, at Buffalo, at UConn. That'll be difficult games. But once you get in the action with Ball State and Akron at home, I think those are games that we should obviously compete into. We have to go to Toledo, new coaching staff. Who knows what happens there?
There's a lot of unknowns around Toledo. This is probably the most up in the air they've been in a decade, probably since before Matt Campbell was there, to be honest.
Yep.
And
I'm pretty high on Mike Jacobs. I think he's going to be a really
like the
good
hire.
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the hire a lot.
Yeah.
The good news is he won't be there long because he's going to pass. He's going to pass through.
And putting a new system in, though, hopefully that would be one you guys could nip them, though. Yeah.
Maybe.
So.
Yeah. So, like I said from the beginning, 12-0 is still on the table, but it's gonna have some bumps in the road most likely.
Okay. No, I always like that. What do you got? Another one on the schedule, Akron. They were a pleasant surprise last year, finishing 5-7. I told the CMU guy last week, my absolute favorite football tweet of last season was winning 5 games with this Akron team should qualify Joe Moorhead for sainthood. And I laughed at that one because, man, they weren't very good, but they were doing some good. And of course, they had that final week bye, so their season was done early as hell.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They had it.
What?
They got us. They got us good.
Yeah, they crushed us. Yeah, it was. They took the first kickoff back for a touchdown, right? Wasn't that? Something like that. Either way, it was over. Was that Kent State? Yeah. Either way,
they were another team who was better than I thought they would be. With the interim, heck, better than I thought they would be. Yeah, because they were so bad under Kenny Burns the previous 2 years.
Yeah, they kicked the shit out of us. Yeah. There was no getting around that. That was an ugly game.
Yeah. So looking at
unfortunately, that came right after Western, and we actually competed pretty. Say we competed with Western, we still didn't score, but we had we competed with them, and then only to go to
it was a close game.
Kent,
only
to go to Kent and just get destroyed.
Yeah, that is what happened. Yeah,
there was a theme there.
Yeah, Walt Bell getting you guys back, I suppose, in the Western game.
We were fans of Walt.
Be the first to eat crow when he got hired. I thought it was a good hire at the time, and you guys got him from Florida State. Like I thought it would work, and it clearly didn't. So
no, the pandemic didn't help him either. But
that's fair.
That half-ass season we tried to put together, and right after we get canceled the season, and then we tried to put it together. We went 0-4. We got our doors blown off.
Is that the year UConn didn't even play?
UConn didn't play.
Yeah.
We played Marshall that year.
Okay.
When they blew our doors.
I wasn't. I just finished my third year, so I would have been at South Carolina at the time. But
that wasn't.
We didn't score. I don't think we scored 1 touchdown in those 4 games. Yeah, it was.
No, we had 2 points. Blocked it.
That was it. We had a safety.
Blocked. Safety.
That was it.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
In 4 games, it was awful.
Yeah.
That's right. So looking at the MAC this year, who do you guys? Jay, I'll kick this one off to you. Who do you expect to be the contenders in the MAC? I mean, it's tough to get away from Miami, Ohio. They're always good under Chuck Martin. I think them and Western will both be solid again.
I think it's Western. I think they got a lot going for them. Lance is doing some good things.
He is.
And I teased it a second ago, but I'm a big Mike Jacobs fan. I just think that guy is going to do something. And, sneaky Toledo might be good. Better, I should say. They'll be better than people thought they were going to be, in my opinion.
Okay.
Those are the 2 best in the league. I'm expecting a few teams to dip. without going too deep into the bulletin board, but I think Buffalo's due for their downturn now.
Please do it. Yeah.
It's the
Buffalo lost some good production.
They lost some good production, and I think the Lembo's history is, he doesn't maintain some of that success over time. I think Ball State's still going to struggle. Bowling Green, I think,
Uremovich long term will be an interesting one for me. I don't know what'll happen there.
I agree with that, and I'm not sold on Eddie George. I'm just not. But I think but by struggling means they're going to be middle of the road, right? I think it's Western, it's Miami, and I think Toledo sneaks, has a chance of sneaking in there. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a Toledo Western final in Detroit.
Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't be shocking.
Yeah, I can't argue it. I mean, obviously Miami, the team I did like last year, it was CMU. I liked that team. I just liked the running aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's like we're just gonna run it down your throat. We're just gonna beat you up. We're gonna punch you in the face, and that I just like that.
I'm glad they're not on our schedule this year.
Yeah. So, and it's got to be a tough place to play up there for any home game. I don't know. I just like them. I something about the drink all there, going there, bringing his background. So that's a team that I was. Yeah, I liked them last year. We'll see how they go into this year. But again, Western, Toledo, Miami.
A team I think will be good, but probably not conference title good, is Ohio. They're always winning 8-9 games. It seems like, John Hauser will be his first year there, but internal hire like the last couple they've had. Tim Albin left it in good shape for those guys, and I don't think Ohio drops off much. I also tell kind of what you said, Jay. I don't know that they're in with those top 3 teams though, of Toledo, Western, and Miami, but they're also probably, like, from your guys' point of view, I'm probably glad I don't play them either, because they're always pretty consistent and solid. Mm-hmm. So, one thing I always ask the viewers as we're winding down, in the MAC, what coach is on the hottest seat? It's an interesting one because so many coaches in the conference are new. I did the breakdowns, by conference, and I think there's only 2 or 3 coaches who are not or are past year 4. Creighton and Chuck Martin are the only coaches that are beyond year 4 in the whole conference. So it's tough.
So, but obviously, our coaches, just by default,
I did list him as number 1 in the article I wrote about it. So,
but I think Moorhead could be on the hot seat, and I think Creighton could be on the hot seat.
Okay.
And probably not for reasons that are fair to either one of them, but just time and expectations and
when Creighton took over there, they were in the spot like you guys were talking about. They'd only went to 2 bowl games in their history before Chris Creighton got there, and he's elevated them.
Yeah.
But they've also not sustained winning, and they've not consistently been good.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it would be fair.
Yeah.
But I would think the expectations that there's that he hasn't gotten to that next step or over that hump, right? And that's again not fair.
Yeah.
And then Akron is just another. They're just another salad of stuff.
Yeah, like Kit, if Moorhead has another year like he did last year, he's good. But I don't know that they can do that again. They haven't been consistently good any time that I can remember for 3-4 year period.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree. But I do think Joe's got to be on there. Like I said, he could be week 3 and it's ugly.
Okay.
Even if he wins one of them. So, but I would say, Creighton and Eastern Michigan, just knowing what they've been at, and then looking at the ranking from last year, 4 and 8. I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Good. Now, the last question I always end on, Jay, I think I know your answer because you just said it a few minutes ago. What coach in the conference with a really good season or 2 could get a P4 job or be hired by a lot bigger school? I feel like you're going to say Mike Jacobs based on what you just said, Jay.
Yeah, I could say that, but I think the same applies to Taylor at Western Michigan too. I think if they have another good year this year, he's gone.
Probably. Yeah.
And then maybe our old friend Walt Bell takes over Western Michigan, right? So we'll see.
I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. I think it's between it's those two. Because
Yeah.
like you said, a lot of everybody else. Yeah, no, it's those two.
Okay.
Has to be.
I don't think Chuck Martin wants to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
that's what I'm thinking.
he seems
Right.
he seems
He would
comfortable,
have by now
right?
if he wanted to leave, probably.
Right. And then everyone else is unproven and new, you know, and that includes our own coach, right? So
Yeah.
it's a lot of turnover in the league. Drink from CMU he could go to.
The one, and I brought this up on the last episode with Drink, would be, you know, Monken's been at Army for a long time. He's almost, 60. If he retires, Drink could be one of the first calls on their list. I don't know that he would leave for another, G6 school. That would be a unique one where you might though.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Yeah, and the only reason his offense isn't 2026 sexy.
I know,
right? So I could maybe lower P4 may take a gamble, but higher P4 isn't gonna, right? Because that's not what people want. Maybe Wisconsin. They love that. They love that.
I was
style.
going to say Rutgers if Shiano retires or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
yeah, whoever's the next PJ Fleck, right? Like whoever can catch that lightning in the bottle, have a couple great seasons. Could be one.
Could be. Yeah, and the other one I brought up is Eddie George, from a sense that Eddie George's bar is lower to get like a lot like Taylor, Drink, Jacobs. These guys might have to win 10 games for a couple of years. Eddie George doesn't have to do that because of the name brand and his background. He needs to do less to get one of those bigger jobs because he's already a known commodity. So
he'd have to do less, but he'd still have to, at a minimum, get to Detroit, right?
Oh, absolutely,
or win out, right?
And probably for 2 years. I don't think it's a 1 year thing for him. He probably has to do it 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
But so
I'm trying to find what his record was because
4-8
Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Oh no, but Tennessee State. I'm just saying what got him Bowling Green, right? Tennessee State.
He's 28-30 in his career record there.
Yeah. So he was 5-6, 4-7, 6-5.
He was a bit of a marketing hire too. So they're
as
bringing an Ohio kid home.
As opposed to Mike Jacobs, who's 94-23 career as a head coach. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a lot of those guys
taking the steps to get there.
Yeah.
Succeeding at different levels,
Yeah. And I guess you could even look at Joe in that sense, right? I mean, he hasn't had that many games and that much success, but at least he did the FCS, moved around. Now he's the FBS.
He had the one really good playoff run, and then he
won. But at the same time, to win in Maine versus say Tennessee, two different ball games, completely different ball games. So
you haven't lived until you've been to Orono, Maine.
Yeah.
I have never been to the campus in Orono, Maine. That is fair.
It's Canada's closer. It's ridiculously way up.
Funny.
It's North
So,
Pole.
my hometown in northern Minnesota, the president of the University of Maine had a summer home there. Like he would come to town now and again and stuff. So it's like geographically, topography wise, we're exactly the same. It's pine trees and rocks and water. Why didn't you go somewhere else? But no.
Yeah. No, that's good
stuff.
But I can see that 100%. If all of a sudden Eddie George goes, 10-2, somebody would fall in love with that story.
Yes. Just because there's the built, like you said, the marketing is already there.
Yeah, I mean I think that's probably that's an easier sell to Chancellor and fan base and whatever. Hey, it's Eddie George. That's
well said.
I can see that.
But anything else you guys want to talk? Any topics or any college football news that you guys want to talk about? We're a little over an hour in, so I want to give you guys a chance. If there's anything specific you want to bring up, give you that option. otherwise, yeah,
We
nothing.
covered a lot. I appreciate your time.
We did.
I think
Oh, glad to have
it
you
was
guys
fun to
on.
be
It was
able to
great
do this.
great to have another fan base in. So
Yeah, it was fun. It was good.
And we're hopeful.
Oh, I'm glad you should be.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we wouldn't be doing this if we weren't, right? I mean, it's fun, it's exciting, but at the same time, it's something that we do find a lot of. What's the word I'm looking for?
Gratification.
Yeah. I mean, we put a lot of effort into a lot of work, and we're trying to do some other things with it. But it's been fun, especially when you go to the games and you get with the other fans that you talk to every day, every week, who's just as into it as Jay and I. So it's a ton of fun, and hopefully this year we can bring some wins, because that makes things a lot. I don't know if you've been to Amherst, but it's not.
I've actually never been to the state of Massachusetts.
Okay,
well,
so
gotta fix that.
Yeah, it's not in Boston.
Boston's one of the two places I want to go the most for summer vacation.
Yeah. Well, I'd say vacation during the week, because it rains every weekend now in the summer for some reason. But yeah, it's not near Boston. It's out in Western Mass. It's a little different, but it's a ride for a lot of people. There's no direct route, unless I guess you're coming from Vermont or Connecticut, but.
Huntington, West Virginia is like that too.
Yeah. So, it's an afternoon you're spending out there. You're taking yourself away from family and friends and things like that to go out and watch a game, and it gets hard. 40-10, 42-6, whatever it might be, it gets hard. And the games are typically at 3:30 in the afternoon, so you're out there early for a tailgate. You're getting home late at night, and it's a
long
hour and a half ride. Yeah. Back home to just go. We did it again. So yeah, hopefully this year is different. Because we haven't had, how long? Walt Bell was here, 2.5 years? Was that what it was? I guess if you consider. Basically. And then Brown was basically the same thing. So we haven't had consistency since Mark Whipple left, and it's been a while. So we need something. We need to turn this around. And you just gotta hope. I mean, there's nobody's gonna change it but the team on the field and the coaches in the room. So we just gotta hope this is the year, and then it builds something.
I'll ask you guys one more question. And this is broader, all of college football one. Your thoughts on the proposed 2014 playoff?
Hate it.
Okay. Too many?
Too many.
Okay.
It has to mean something. You know what I mean? And it does feel like if you're a 4-loss SEC team, you probably don't deserve to be there. Yeah. If you're in that, you know what I mean? You just don't.
I get that.
I like it. I like it in the sense of, let me rephrase that. I like it if it means conference championships means something. Okay. That's what I want. I don't care if we get blown out, but I want to win the MAC and know that I got a shot at the title. Yeah. That's
and I
more of one.
Can it kind of save regional football is one thing that I would like. I love how FCS does it, but that's not to say I'm worried it won't look the same at the FBS level. So I don't know.
Yeah. And I get it too, right? Like you're going to have Big Ten teams, SEC teams, and they're going to saturate, and they deserve to be in there. And they would probably, the 5th or 6th best team in those leagues would smoke us. But I still think that, if we're in a conference and we're all in the same league, you deserve that opportunity. It's the same thing with basketball.
I do think if we go to 24, you have to give at least one bid to every conference.
That's what
the G6s have to make it. You have to give them one.
That's my feeling on it. Is just that makes sense to me. Not just one, not just like the 2 highest because of some stipulation. No, just give it there. That to me, that's the easiest cut and dry answer for everything. And if it's something where you have to merge conferences at the G6 level to just give less bids out or whatever it is, right? But hey, we're all playing for a championship. We all have a shot at a championship to get us to that next level.
I hate to pick on one of the new conferences, but with Pac-12 Mountain West, the new look Pac-12 only has 8 teams. maybe those two should have had some agreement where they're doing more stuff together. I don't know. I might be picking on them too much, but yeah.
Well, basketball does that. And joining the MAC now, we've seen this where they have what is it, the Sun Belt MAC Challenge.
Yes.
And maybe you do something similar like that, where you have
because we played Miami
conference-
last year and they rolled us because they were really good.
Yeah.
College
So-
football has some. They need some. They got to figure some stuff out. You know,
Yes,
I think the big
100%.
thing is governance. You know, there's too much. There's too many silos that have big seats at the table, and that it really skews the thought process
Yeah.
overall.
And they
But
and they
that's
keep
nothing no one's ever
changing.
said.
Yeah, and they keep changing things, and people find loopholes. Like I saw some kid from UCLA that joined the portal, but he joined it as like a track star, not a football
Yes,
star.
I did see that a couple.
So
yesterday.
like there's all these different things, and that's probably nothing new. Like like the U with all the sanctions, people were taking track scholarships to play football because there was no football scholarships. So I mean, that's probably nothing new, but it definitely needs. I just don't think it's going to get figured out. Nobody's ever going to be happy. But if they did a bigger tournament, I just think that it makes sense to me that if you have conferences, if you win a conference, you get in. And if maybe there's hey, the smaller or the G6, they win their conferences, there's some sort of play into the tournament, fine. Whatever it is, I just think you deserve an opportunity. I'm sure there's other college athletics where you win a champion or conference and you don't make it in, fine. But I just, in my opinion, in football, that's what you should get.
I'm with you there. Yeah, no, well said, I think. But Jay and Mike from the Cursive U, glad to have you guys here. Of course, for your audience out there, their info will be tagged on everything, so you can give them an easy follow. But want to thank you guys for being here. A lot of fun. The hour went by quick, and hopefully we can collaborate in the future. Look forward to continuing to follow you guys.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely.